Do you know what GMOs are or what GMO foods are? Are they useful or do they cause harm to us? In this video, we will see what GMOs and GM foods are and also discuss about their process, history, pros and cons. GMO is known as genetically modified organisms. They are also organisms in which the genetic material, DNA, has been altered in a way that does not occur naturally. GMO may cause a change in characteristics toward the organisms. Here are some examples of the new characteristics for the genetically modified organisms. For examples, there will be increase of size, change in color, and also change in shape in the GMO. Here are some of the examples of GMO foods including milk, corn, and potatoes.
A question might come to your mind. How are the GMO plants being produced? Firstly, scientists identify what trait they want the plant to have, such as resistance to bacteria or virus, herbicides, and insects. Then they will find an organism which has that trait within its gene. In this example, scientists wanted to create insect-resistant corn to reduce the need to spray pesticides. They identified a gene in a soil bacterium called Bacillus thuringiensis. It produces a natural insecticide that always being used in agriculture. After scientists found the desired BT gene, they copied that gene by cloning. They combine DNA segments together and insert the gene into the DNA of the plant. By inserting the BT gene into the DNA of the corn plant, the plant gains insect resistance trait. This new trait does not change the other existing traits. Next, they grow the BT corn plant to ensure it has adopted the insect resistance trait. The BT corn will go through in-depth review and test before they are ready to be sold to the farmers. The entire process of bringing a GMO plant to the marketplace takes several years.
So I'm going to talk about the history of GMO. This is a timeline of genetic modification in agriculture. In circa 8000 BCE, which is between 9000 to 10,000 years ago in northern Mesopotamia, humans used traditional modification methods like selective breeding and crossbreeding to breed plants and animals with most desirable traits. In 1866, Gregor Mendel, an Austrian monk, breeds two different types of peas and identifies the basic process of genetics. In 1922, the first hybrid corn was produced and sold commercially. In 1940, plant breeders learned to use radiation or chemicals to randomly change an organism's DNA. In 1953, building on the discoveries of chemist Rosalind Franklin, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick identified the structure of DNA. In 1973, biochemists Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen developed genetic engineering by inserting DNA from one bacteria into another. In 1982, FDA approved the first consumer GMO product developed through genetic engineering, which is the human insulin to treat diabetes. In 1986, the federal government established the Coordinated Framework for the Regulation of Biotechnology. This policy described how the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA), U.S. Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), and U.S. Department of Agriculture (USDA) work together to regulate the safety of GMOs. In 1992, FDA policy states that the food from GMO plants must meet the same requirements, including the same safety standards as foods derived from the traditionally bred plant. In 1994, the first GMO produce created through genetic engineering, a GMO tomato, becomes available for sale after studies evaluated by federal agency proved it to be as safe as traditionally bred tomatoes. In 1990s, the first wave of GMO produced created through genetic engineering becomes available to consumers. For example, corn, soybeans, canola, sugar beets, and cotton. Besides, there are apples, cucumbers, potatoes, and papayas, but not all are available for sale. In 2003, the World Health Organization (WHO) and the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) of the United Nations developed international guidelines and standards to determine the safety of GMO food. In 2005, GMO alfalfa and sugar beets are available for sale in the United States. In 2015, FDA approves an application for the first genetic modification in an animal for use as food, which is a genetically engineered salmon. In 2016, Congress passes a law requiring labeling for some foods produced through genetic engineering and uses the term bioengineered, which will start to appear on some foods. In 2017, GMO apples are available for sales in the US. In 2019, FDA completes consultation on the first food from a genome-edited plant, which is the high-oleic soybean oil.
Nowadays, genetic engineering is used in many fields. Even though medical applications like GM insulin are widely accepted, but there is still a strong agreement among the group of back of it when it comes to food and agriculture. Why is the same thing treated so differently? Let's start and explore the good and bad of genetically modified organisms. Advantage of genetically modified organisms. First of all, it helps to reduce the pesticide applications and increase the crop yield. Next, it prevents the soil erosion. It also allows the crops to be more able to survive in stressful conditions. In addition, it also brings to a better air quality and a better moisture fraction in the soil. Further, it also offers a nice appearance of food and enhances the flavor of the food. Next, let's move on to the disadvantage of genetically modified organisms. Firstly, the insect may develop a resistance toward the toxin from genetically modified crops they use to deter them. Additionally, disruption of biodiversity may be happening due to the introductions of genetically modified organisms can eventually disrupt the natural process of gene flow.